Okay, I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
King.
Here.
Boyer. Here. Finnegan. Here. Stout. Here. Taylor. Here. Knopf. Olson.
Here.
You got, Dana. You got it right. Okay, I didn't hear. Sorry. Okay. We're going to begin this evening with recognition of District 88 successes. And we're going to be beginning and recognizing Jackson Regan, an Eagle Scout recognition.
Good evening. If we can have Jackson Regan come up here to the table. I'm going to sit here at the table, Jackson. Tonight we have a special recognition related to one of our students who had earned the Eagle Scout rating. We're going to turn things over in just a moment to our board vice president, Mr. Dan Olson. We happen to have a Boy Scout leader from Troop 417 in Elmhurst. He's also part of the Three Fires Council for Advancement Committee. And so he will read Jackson's honor. We don't always get to recognize all of our Eagle Scouts, but this one is a special recognition because Jackson chose to use his project to honor our late superintendent, Dr. Scott Helton. So I'm going to turn things over to Mr. Olson to present the award.
Okay, congratulations, Jackson. Addison Trail Senior Jackson Regan earned Eagle Scout, or earned the rank of Eagle Scout, the highest rank attainable in the Boy Scouts of America. Those who receive that rank are a total of 21 merit badges, demonstrate Scout oath and Scout law in their daily life, plan and develop and give leadership to others in a service project. Jackson is with Troop 408, and he joined Cub Scouts in 2010. Jackson said he signed up after attending an informational meeting where he saw and heard about the various fun activities, opportunities in which he could participate as a member of the troop. For his Eagle Scout project, Jackson built a planter box and 2 doggy bag stations for the Army Trail Nature Center in Addison. The planter is dedicated memory to the late District 88 Superintendent Dr. Scott Helton, who passed away on December 10th, 2020. Dr. Helton was a true leader, ambassador, and advocate for the students of District 88 and beyond. He was ingrained in the District 88 community and helped positive futures for countless students through his contributions for public education, coaching football, wrestling, and track. Dr. Helton had more than 33 years of experience in education, served in a variety of capacities, including as principal of District 88's Addison Trail High School for 11 years and as a superintendent of the district since 2012. In honor of Jackson's accomplishment of earning Eagle Scout, at the request of Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, a flag was flying over the United States Capitol, and we'll present that to you later. I'm not going to try and explain your project. If you would, Jackson, explain to us how you came about your project and what participated.
So when thinking of what I should do for my Eagle Scout project, I immediately thought about doing something environmental to help make the nature center look a little bit nicer and appealing. And I thought about Dr. Scott Helton and how great he had been as a superintendent, because I used to see him come all the time to shows in the theater and sporting events all the time. So when I decided to make this planter box, I thought it would have been a good idea to dedicate it to his memory.
Okay. So we have a couple things, so if you and your parents would like to come up. First off, there's some pictures from the dedication ceremony when you were all finished, and it looks, and our Addison Trails horticultural class will continue to keep it with flowers. The flag that we mentioned, and then this is just a certificate from before the flying of the flag at the state capitol. Okay, there you go. Congratulations. You two, and we need to congratulate both of you because you guys did quite a bit to get us this far, so. Thank you. There you go. Congratulations.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Next. Okay. We have the recognition of Addison District 4 Superintendent or Mr. John Langton, who is retiring from District 4. It's hard to believe. I don't know how they allowed that to happen, but 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 if you want to go ahead and come up to the table as well, we have some various things that we'd like to present to you as well. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Permanente.
Well, it's our pleasure tonight to recognize John Langton, retiring superintendent of District 4, and longtime model educator and leader here in the county, and certainly a good friend to District 88 and to all of us, and a tremendous colleague. John has served in public education for 34 years, most recently as a superintendent in District 4 for the last 13, but also was assistant superintendent and principal prior to that. But has certainly served this community for many, many years and is beloved by many of us. Tonight, we'd like to honor you in a few different ways. We have some resolutions that have been prepared not only from our board, but also from the Illinois House of Representatives and the Village of Addison. And also tonight, we will, I guess, represent you with the IASA Dr. Scott J. Helton Award for Excellence in Educational Leadership. Very recently, after the passing of our superintendent, Dr. Helton, the DuPage County IASA Executive Board, which John has served as well for some years, had decided to create an award in Scott's honor to award a deserving leader in the county that exemplified those qualities that we felt set Scott apart in his leadership, which includes the demonstration of humility, gratitude, allyship, being a mentor, building relationships, and just being someone who exemplifies positivity and advocacy. So it's not something that's going to be given annually. It's only when we had determined that someone would be deserving of the award. And I'm very pleased to share that John Langton was chosen by the executive board as the first recipient of that award. This is something he was presented with on May 11th. Scott's son was able to be present. Joe was able to read the qualities and present the award there together with the executive board. But the award was given to him that day, but then the memorial, which we'll share here when you come up later, will then stay here in District 88. As others are awarded, in the future. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Donna to talk a little bit about our resolution and say a few more words.
Okay. So on behalf of the District 88 Board, we've been very blessed to be able to work with you over the years. I specifically have enjoyed all those opportunities to work closely with you through the intergovernmental, through the Partnership for Inspired Education Foundation, and all the other activities that we've done between the two districts. At this time, I would like to do is, we have a resolution we'd like to present to you, and I'm going to turn with Amy Finnegan to read the resolution. And
whereas John Langton has served in public education for 34 years, and whereas John Langton has served as superintendent at Addison School District 4 for 13 years, and whereas John Langton has previously was an assistant superintendent, a middle school principal, and an elementary school principal at Addison School District 4. And whereas John Langton was a middle school assistant principal at a community consolidated school district 93. And whereas John Langton began his career as an elementary and middle school teacher at Community Consolidated School District 21. And whereas John Langton believes education is a noble profession that allows the staff the ability to help children be successful. And whereas John Langton has received the Dr. Scott J. Helton Excellence in Educational Leadership Award from the DuPage Division of the Illinois Association of School Administrators, IASA, for demonstrating humility, gratitude, allyship, positivity, advocacy, and being a mentor and relationship builder. And whereas John Langton encourages educators to always make decisions for the right reasons, which must include kids first. And whereas John Langton looks forward to traveling, taking care of himself and his family, and driving fast cars in retirement. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education and Administration of DuPage High School District 88 conveys their heartfelt thank you to John Langton for his years of dedicated service to the Village of Addison. John Langton will retire in June 2022, and the DuPage High School District 88 Board of Education and Administration would like to commemorate his leadership, friendship, spirit, teamwork, and commitment to the Addison school community. John Langton has served in public education for 34 years, and the DuPage High School District 88 Board of Education and Administration honor the positive impact he has made on the lives of countless students.
We have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There's no opposition. Congratulations, John. At this time, I'm going to ask you to come up here because I don't want to carry, I'm afraid to carry this. So we're very blessed in District 88. We have a former teacher that creates these beautiful glassworks. And we've commissioned this piece of artwork specifically for you. And this is the description that Mr. Fritz has written. To honor your significant contributions and celebrate your years in education, the District 88 Administration and Board of Education commissioned me to create this crystal sculpture for your retirement. As an artist, I enjoy working on commissions for individuals telling stories about events in their lives by using birds symbolically. Cranes are the symbol of a long life and good fortune. You are the large crane with Jill by your side, heading off on your next adventure. On the reverse side are Ryan and Kellen, also in flight. There are a total of 34 stars in the piece to represent your years in education. At the base of the piece are rolling hills signifying the ups and downs of every life, every profession. I hope this sculpture that I created at the District 88 Board of Education Administrators' request reminds you of the impact that you've had in the lives of numerous children who are influenced throughout your career with your motto of kids first. And we have a box too. So you don't- Exactly. Yeah. We'll make him be brave to carry it. We'll Photoshop him in, yeah.
And if I could just make one comment to your board, and really to the Addison community. Most people have never heard this story, but back in 1996, I was 29 years old. I came to this community and knew nobody. And I was probably on the job, principal of Wesley School for 1 week. And the principal of Addison Trail High School called me, who I did not know. This is before Dr. Helton, and asked me if I wanted to go to lunch. So, of course, I visited and we went to lunch. And he welcomed me. And he was fairly new to the community as well. But from there, that relationship began to grow. And then, of course, when Dr. Helton became principal, he and I just bonded and immediately clicked. And then I became principal of Indian Trail. And then as I moved into a district leadership role, and he then soon thereafter did as well, the relationship just flourished. And so many of our colleagues, especially across DuPage, they don't understand the importance of relationships within a community. And Scott and I would often brag about this special thing that we had in the community of Addison. And we have 2 school districts who care about the community and do everything we can to help this community thrive, but it's never in competition. So I love telling the stories of Dr. Helton always, and I mean always, when he would talk about the accolades of District 88, he would talk about that wouldn't be possible without the associate elementary districts who feed into your high school district. And that meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to the other superintendents on the Villa Park and Willowbrook side. But the relationships that we have are special, and I'll always be thankful for that, because that wasn't the case necessarily in the previous places where I had worked. But for the last 26 years, I've not only enjoyed those relationships, but have appreciated what a difference it made in all of our abilities to be able to do our jobs. So thank you very much for this recognition. The Scott Helton Award, I'm still humbled by, but I'm honored to be the first recipient of that, because that's probably more meaningful than anything, because I really do associate with him. He was a special man. So thank you.
I was going to say, and I guess in addition to the resolution from District 88, we're going to give you the original when we get all the board member signatures. We're missing a couple.
Oh, great. Well, you know to find me, where to find me until June 30th.
After that, we'll look for you in traffic court when you're starting those fast courts.
You know you will.
But we also have some additional resolutions. I do traffic court, so just so you know.
I have your cell number.
We also have the recognition from the, a resolution from the Village of Addison,
Oh, wonderful.
as well as from the House of Representatives from the
Thank
state.
you so much. I appreciate you doing that for me.
And as we said, this award will stay here in District 88, but you'll be the first recipient there, so congratulations.
Thank you. At this, we do have some refreshments in there. We'll just take a short break, and then we'll resume. Okay, we shall call this meeting back to order. Roll call, please.
Kane.
Here.
Poyer. Finnegan. Stout. Taylor. Goff. Olson.
Okay, at this time, it's item 5, petitions and hearings. It's the practice of the Board of Education to provide a place on the agenda, and we welcome comments and suggestions from the public. Ms. Brink, do we have any comments this evening?
We do not have any comments at this time.
Thank you. Next, we'll move along to the motion to establish a consent agenda. The items of the consent agenda were reviewed and discussed by the board and administration at a previous meeting, or are routine items. Meeting minutes, reports, and data were reviewed prior to being recommended for the consent agenda.
I move to establish the consent agenda.
Okay, any comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Finnegan.
Yes.
Stout. Taylor. Olson. Poyer. Kane.
Yes, motion's approved. Next, we have the motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the, I'm sorry. I move to approve the consent agenda.
Roll call, please.
Stout. Taylor. Olson.
Yes.
Poyer. Finnegan.
Yes.
Kane.
Yes, motion's approved. Next, we'll move on to separate action items. The first one is the treasurer's report for April 2022.
Thank you. Good evening. Presenting for the month of April, the treasurer's report, as you can see, closing the month at $52,814,661.82. Again, the following page provides that detail of both revenues and expenses. We still have some investments that we're tracking to try to get those placed soon, but currently have just under $2.7 million of investments. And again, majority of our money at this point at $40 million, just over $40 million is at Fifth Third. We'll begin to see property tax receipts come in here and early June here soon, so you'll be getting that report over the summer. That completes my report at this time.
I move that the Board of Education approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Okay, any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Taylor. Olson. Poyer. Finnegan.
Yes.
Stout. Kane.
Yes, motion's approved. Next is the budget status report.
Thank you. Presenting this evening, similar to what I've been able to give you previous months, we're very strong collections on the revenue side, so just kind of overall, we're at just under 62%, and that is up 3.9%, so very strong collections. I'll talk about that in a moment. Expenditure side, we're just under 75%, so we're trending up about 3%, but again, keep in mind that that was compared to the prior year that was a unique remote instruction primarily. So overall, the trend, if we were to compare that to 2 years ago, which is a normalized, I would say, more normalized than last year, we're at just a little over 75%. So we're within trend overall. Salaries are trending up. It's at 74.8%. Again, very much in line with where we would have expected the previous 2 years, 2019 and 2020. So very favorable there, again, being the largest expense that we have. And then purchase services is the only other area on the expenditure side. That is trending up overall for the operating funds. It is up 5.6% over 2020 and 10% over 2019. The majority of that is the transportation services. That's where we are picking up in regards to this current year that we didn't have last year, and as a result, percentage year to date. As we know, I've already worked with the board in a previous meeting. We put forward amendments for both transportation and the IMRF fund. So on the revenue side, just in the education fund, again, we're up right now 2.4 to 2.91%, so very strong collections. In particular, property taxes continue to be strong. They're up about 0.5%. But more importantly, we continue to see very strong corporate personal property tax receipts from the state of Illinois through the Department of Revenue. So we had, as of April, in terms of CPPRT, collections of $3.6 million, so we were 146% of their estimate that they gave us in August. And we had one more payment that came in this month in May. So we'll report to you on that in the next month, May report. Again, you've already heard previous positive news, both athletic gate as well as for a la carte sales, both of which are very strong this year compared to what we thought they would be when we modified some of our budget. State aid, very strong. You're seeing here that we're at state aid right now, 5% up either year, doesn't matter which one.
So again, very strong there. Within the state aid collections, they are very timely this year. It's very helpful. The only category that we're trending low is in federal. And again, primarily that's the ESSER. We layered in $2.4 million of additional revenue and expense. So if we adjust for that, we're very much close to where we would expect to be on trend. We're at 94, a little over 94% collected of federal without the ESSER. So again, other than the ESSER, there's no real surprise there. We know that the ESSER is on a spend, claim, and then you'll receive it. So it's going to lag, and we're going to receive a lot of what we're spending towards the last quarter of this year into the next fiscal year, and that's how it typically is with the federal grants, this as well as Title I. On the expenditure side, again, on the education fund, at just under $48 million. We're currently within a prior 2 years, we'll say benchmark, very much where we'd expect to be, within 0.4. So no real measurable concerns whatsoever in that area. On the O&M fund, regards to buildings and grounds, again, on the revenue side, very strong. We have a federal grant. Keep in mind that ESSER did help us to fund the facility improvements downstairs. That particular project is just finishing up. So there's actually a pay application that's coming to the board. We'll have one more after that. Those will then be allowed to be claimed. So the revenue we receive from that will go into the next fiscal year based on a claim, spend it, claim it, and then get reimbursed basis. But other than that, again, very much on target. Rental revenue has reconciled, so we've been caught up to where we expected to be in terms of budget. So a nice, slightly positive 1% on the revenue side. On the expenditure side, the only variance there really has to do with capital projects, and that, again, a number of projects that are either been delayed in terms of payments, similar ejector pump project here, as well as the curtains. We've had quite the year in terms of trying to get contractors to follow through on our commitments and awards of various pricing. So a divider curtain in the classroom is still something we're working through and hope to bring back another recommendation. The field house curtains we're hearing should be arriving between now and the end of June, so hopefully get most of those in. So those bills will be delayed until the next fiscal year. We just finished the curtain project in the auditorium at Addison Trail. So those are all variances that are contributing to capital outlay being more favorable right now, but all of those will reconcile, if not the end of this year, into the first quarter of next fiscal year. Utilities, as you can see in the report, running strong at about 1.5, 1.6% up. But the largest one, the 70% of it is electricity, and that one is favorable. It's down 1.5%, so we are still seeing a positive within electricity, and certainly just hoping to close the fiscal year slightly over, possibly in regards to our budget. We shall see how that rolls out. The transportation fund, as I said, working with the board before, we had already moved forward on the expenditure side to modify that to represent the homeless transportation, which has been up, as well as special education outside placement. So we do have a $400,000 requested amendment in for that. The state has been very timely, again, in terms of state payments. So we are actually within $22,000 of our estimated budget for state transportation. So we're hopeful. We're not sure they'll get another payment in. They have in the past couple of years got us a June payment, but we shall see if they are going to pass that along in the following month of the fiscal year. And again, on the revenue side and expense for IMRF, we've already addressed the expense side. It was trending up. Again, most of it having to do with the ESSER and the increased salaries that we took on. So that has been increased in terms of an amendment. We added $85,000 to that. So that should cover the difference that we're seeing here in terms of an upward pressure of about 2.5% within the last 2 months of this fiscal year. So again, overall, very strong collections on state aid, very strong collections on some of our local revenues, certainly on the corporate personal. All of those are very favorable. We're up just under 4%. On the expenditure side, the variances that we're seeing are expected and or amending regards to our budget, particularly transportation and IMRF. So 2 more months to finish up, and so far so good.
I move the Board of Education approve the budget status report as presented.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Olson? Poyer? Finnegan?
Yes.
Stout? Taylor? Kane?
Yes. Motion's approved. Next, we have the inter-fund transfer from education fund to the debt services fund.
So this is the time of year where we do need to move monies from the education fund to our debt service to cover our capital leases. We're not allowed to directly deposit revenues other than the property taxes to debt service, so we have to do this annual transfer. So we are asking for approval to transfer $11,884 to cover those various capital leases from the debt service fund.
I move that the Board of Education approve the resolution authorizing interfund transfer for debt service purposes in the amount of $11,884 to make the annual capital lease payments.
Any questions?
We can levy, we actually do levy for all the bonds, so the working cash bonds that the board has previously authorized, and those get filed immediately with the county, so they automatically levy those, and those come into debt service. When it comes to capital leases, we can't levy for a lease, so the money we get goes into the education fund. The only way to cover it in the debt service is to do this transfer.
Something specific to us.
Yeah, it's Illinois in regards to the Illinois school code on which fund you
Okay.
can levy, and we don't have direct authority other than bonds that we issue for debt service.
Okay, just
Yeah.
interested.
Governmental Accounting Standards Board, GASB, has made quite a few decisions, and those affect schools as well as other local government entities to make sure that all leases are now going through debt service fund, and there will be no operating leases anymore. So we're seeing that change. I know the auditors have been bringing that along for a while, but this is actually, this coming year, fiscal year '22 is the first year that they'll make it officially, you can no longer do operating leases. We were doing operating leases forever on various things like postage machines and copiers where we didn't want to own them, and we just use them, and then we'd turn them back, and it's considered an operating, you can't do it anymore. Now it's all capital lease.
Okay, that's an answer. Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, any other questions? Roll call, please.
Olson? Poyer? Finnegan?
Yes.
Stout? Taylor? Kane?
Yes, motion's approved. Next, we have item D, the building improvement project recommendation for 2022-23 revised.
Thank you. So following from the Buildings and Grounds Committee discussion and working further hard now with the board, we are asking to amend or revise the original building improvement projects for 2022-23. Looking through the master facility plan, since we had to reduce a number of the larger projects, we now have looked through the other priorities and come up with at least 3 of them for Willowbrook that we would like to pursue. Been there for a while, so replacement lockers in the girls' locker room, those are original to the building, and to pursue the fencing and back replacement for the freshman baseball and freshman softball fields. And then doing the same process and looking through the prioritization and master facility plan for Addison Trail. Many of those projects would require more design and more intensity, so not as easy to jump in and try to move forward and try to get some bids out. However, we did just finish the Addison Trail Auditorium rigging inspection, and throughout that report, completed by Chicago Fly House, they concluded that there are a number of corrective items that we need to get at. So we have their recommendations and their estimates at approximately $45,000. Some of that we may still be able to do ourselves in-house, but at least being asked to have the authority to go up to what they've estimated the true cost to be to make those corrections and try to get that work done between now and the start of the next school year. So the request overall is to increase, the recommendation is to increase the projects, including all architect engineer fees, to $1,034,295 for 2022-23.
I move that the Board of Education authorize the revised building improvement project budget for 2022-23 in the amount of $1,034,295, including contingency and estimated architect engineer fees as outlined in Exhibit A.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Poyer? Finnegan?
Yes.
Stout? Taylor? Olson? Kane?
Yes, motion's approved. Next, we have item E, the architect engineer service proposal for HVAC replacement, air conditioning, CTE areas for Willowbrook and Addison Trail.
Thank you. Again, discussion from Buildings and Grounds. We're asking for authorization to proceed and accept the proposal from White and Company to begin working with 2010 Engineering and get on with the design work for the air conditioning and the equipment HVAC equipment replacement at both schools. Again, this is the project that is a significant grant through the DCEO. We'd like to get this started so that we can get ready to go out to bid in the fall and hopefully secure bids for the board to approve. Their estimated fee, their proposal fee is $84,000 plus estimated reimbursable expenses to complete that work and get on with that so that we are ready to get out to bid in the fall.
I move the Board of Education accept the proposal from White & Company for architect engineer services for the HVAC equipment replacement and air conditioning for the CTE vocational classroom areas at both schools at a fee of $84,000 plus reimbursable expenses.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Finnegan,
Yes.
Stout, Taylor. Yes. Olson. Yes. Poyer. Yes. Kane.
Yes. Motion's approved. Next, we have the item F, architecture engineer service proposal for the replacement and refurbishment and replacement.
Thank you. Again, working with White & Company in 2010 Engineering, we secured a proposal from them for $38,000 plus reimbursable expenses, again, to begin the design work for the refurbishment and replacement of boilers. The refurbishment would take place at Addison Trail and Willowbrook for their boilers number 1, and then the replacement is scheduled for the district office equipment here. So the overall project cost for that estimate for all those is $527,280. We'd ask for board approval to proceed with that work.
I move the Board of Education accept the proposal from White & Company for architect engineer services for the boiler refurbishment and replacement projects at a fee of $38,000 plus reimbursable expenses.
Okay, any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Stout. Yes. Taylor. Yes. Olson. Yes. Poyer. Yes. Finnegan.
Yes.
Kane.
Yes, motion's approved. Next, item G is the student athletic and non-athletic event fees.
So, little deja vu, we had come to you last year. We had asked for approval to waive the student fees. First, we did the athletic, and then we came back and asked to waive the non-athletic event fees. That has gone really well in combination with a number of other initiatives to engage students. So we're now asking if we could please permanently waive, going forward, those fees for our District 88 students who present an ID and when attending events for starting in 2023 and going forward.
I move the Board of Education authorize the administration to discontinue the collection of District 88 student athletic and non-athletic event fees.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Taylor. Yes. Olson. Yes. Poyer. Yes. Finnegan.
Yes.
Stout. Yes. Kane.
Yes, motion's approved.
Thank you.
Next, we have item H, the student registration fees for 2022-23.
So similarly, last year, we had this discussion, and the board had authorized to waive registration and textbook and parking fees. We're now back here getting ready for 22-23, asking for a resurrection, if you will, of those original scheduled fees with one modification. As we had asked you earlier in the year to approve the awarded bid for Chromebooks, that has jumped the price, and so we knew that we wanted to be able to cover those for a incoming class. At some point, it was going to go higher than where we were at, which was currently at $54 in terms of a fee that we were passing along. So we have a modified freshman incoming class rate. The only change we're making is to the registration fee that includes the component for a device. So the freshman incoming class would be $221 registration fee, whereas sophomores, juniors, and seniors would remain at their original $214. That is the only change we're asking as we look to move forward for registration for 2022-23. The only other note I provided for you was the discontinuation, obviously, assuming that the board did approve, which you did, the waiving of student event fees. We'd no longer charge for an activity pass for students, so that was removed.
I move that the Board of Education approve the 2022-23 student fee schedule as presented.
Okay, any questions? Roll call.
Olson. Yes. Poyer. Yes. Finnegan.
Yes.
Stout. Yes. Taylor. Yes. Kane.
Yes, motion's approved. Next, we have the spring 2022 disposal list.
In accordance with established practice, it is recommended that the administration be authorized to dispose of, in the best interest of the school district, the items on the attached list which are no longer serviceable nor needed. Part of this process, items are first offered intra-district transfer, which means other departments can choose things from these lists to use in their own departments. Afterwards, they are then solicited via sealed bid to both other taxing bodies in the area as well as staff. Anything that's deemed over $500 in value will go out to a sealed bid for public. And then any of that technology that is obsolete or broken has to be recycled through an environmental recycler. So we would contract with that to get those services.
I move that the Board of Education authorize the administration to dispose of listed equipment and materials in the best interest of the district.
Okay, any questions? Roll call, please.
Olson? Ware? Yes. Finnegan?
Yes.
Stout? Yes. Taylor?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes, motion is approved. Next, we have item J, the auditorium for stage extension.
Currently, Addison Trail utilizes an 8-foot stage extension platform, which extends out from the front of the stage in the auditorium. The extension platform is a square, however, along sides of it, they have staircases that go up sides, which is more like an octagon shape. When the extension of the stage is used, it's causing a clearance gap between the stage itself as well as the stairs that students could fall off and injure themselves. So to improve the safety conditions for these students, we solicit pricing from 2 companies. Wenger Corporation at a price of $1,832.01 was the most competitive proposal we received. Their work will include a 5-year warranty, and this will be budgeted for the FY 2022-23 school year funds.
I move that the Board of Education approve the proposal submitted by Wenger Corporation in the amount of $9,832.01 to purchase platform extenders for the 4-stage area of the auditorium at Addison Trail.
Okay, any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Ware? Yes. Finnegan?
Yes.
Stout? Taylor? Olson? Kane?
Yes, motion's approved. Next, we have the item K for the purchase of staff devices.
Tonight, we're recommending the Board of Education approve the proposal submitted by Bright Centra, Inc. in the total amount of $128,040 for the purchase of 55 Lenovo ThinkPad Model T15 laptops and 55 Lenovo ThinkPad Model X13 yoga tablets. The pricing declined actually 17.8% for the laptop devices, however, increased 14.4% for the tablets. This purchase is part of a 4-year planned replacement cycle where we update a quarter of the staff devices annually. This allows the district to maintain their consistency and continuity of the devices to keep current with the operating system and instructional software needs. The devices carry a 3-year warranty, and we received 12 responses from vendors, as you can see in the attached proposal summary.
I move that the Board of Education approve the acceptance of the proposal submitted by Bright Centra, Inc. in the total amount of $128,040 for the purchase of 55 Lenovo ThinkPad Model T15 laptops and 55 ThinkPad Model X13 yoga tablet devices.
I just have a quick question. So have these vendors, do they already have these in stock, or have they guaranteed delivery? I ordered a Lenovo one in March, and I've been told I'll get it in July. But it may be because I had some special things on it, so I was just curious.
So the nice thing we did with the laptops is we ordered the same model we ordered last year, which is why the price decreased a little bit. And I believe Aaron's been in contact, Beckline's been in contact with Lenovo to kind of confirm that we should have our devices in a very timely manner.
Okay.
Yeah, we reached out to the vendor, and then we purposely wanted to make sure that we had these things in a timely manner, so that's why we looked at this model
Okay.
specifically. Just
Great,
to-
thank you.
yeah.
Okay, roll call, please.
Olson? Ware?
Yes.
Finnegan?
Yes.
Stout? Taylor? Yes. Kane?
Yes, motion's approved. Next, for the intergovernmental agreement.
Tonight, we have for the board's consideration intergovernmental agreement related to the Village of Addison and our other taxing bodies, the Public Library, School District 4, the Addison Fire Protection District, and the Addison Township, working together to publish a newsletter. So I'm going to let Danny explain a little bit about what the intent is here and why we'd be in favor of proceeding with this.
Thank you. Good evening. So for your consideration tonight, we have the intergovernmental agreement, as Dr. Barbonente said, for a newsletter that would be community-wide. It's an initiative of the Village of Addison. They've started a marketing subcommittee with the intent to really publicize and promote all of the positive aspects of the village and everything that's going on in all of the different intergovernmental agencies. We did have about an 8-minute video that they have put together highlighting each organization. That was one of their big projects through this marketing subcommittee. We played that video at a recent realtor luncheon that we hosted. And we also wanted to just bring this as a potential idea as well. So basically, this would be quarterly. It would be printed. It would go to all of the Addison residents. So it goes to residential locations only. So it would get out them, again, quarterly. And our commitment would be a 1-page contribution each time. And so we would fill that page, we would design that page, we would be responsible for laying it out, getting the content, editing it, and having it translated in Spanish. So again, just another opportunity that we're bringing to the board tonight to promote the district as well as the village as a whole.
We're estimating that the cost to participate would be about $550 a quarter.
That's not bad. Okay. So,
Oh, sorry.
it's okay.
Are there any questions we can help answer?
I move that the Board of Education approve the intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Addison, Addison Public Library, School District Number 4, DuPage High School District 88, Addison Fire Protection District, and Addison Township for the publication of the Addison Advantages newsletter as presented.
Okay, any other questions? Roll call, please.
Olson? Yes. Poyer?
Yes.
Finnegan?
Yes.
Stout? Yes. Taylor?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes, motion's approved. Next, we have item M, the construction project pay application number 3 for the ejector pump project.
I move that the Board of Education approve the pay application number 3 from Richmond Electric Company, Inc., in the amount of $52,623.
Roll call, please.
Poyer? Yes. Finnegan?
Yes.
Stout? Yes. Taylor? Yes. Kane?
Yes, the motion's.
Olson?
Oh, sorry, this guy.
Olson?
I'm used to being last.
Sorry.
You know, we're kind of like creatures of habit here. The motion carries. Okay, next, we have a list of bills for the vendor checks from May 5th to the 18th.
I move that the Board of Education approve the list of payments to vendors for the period of May 5th to 18th, 2022, in the total amount of $1,872,174.25.
Okay. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Olson? Poyer? Yes. Finnegan?
Yes.
Stout? Taylor? Yes. Kane?
Yes, motion's approved. Next, we have item O, the Consolidated District Plan.
I move that the Board of Education accept the Consolidated District Plan as presented for District 88 and submit to the Illinois State Board of Education.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Olson? Yes. Poyer? Yes. Finnegan?
Yes.
Stout? Yes. Taylor? Yes. Kane?
Yes, motion's approved. Next, we have item P, fundraiser exceeding $1,000.
I move that the Board of Education approve the fundraisers exceeding $1,000 as presented.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Poyer? Yes. Finnegan?
Yes.
Stout? Taylor? Yes. Olson? Yes. Kane?
Yes, motion's approved. And next is item R, the personnel report. Oh, donation, sorry. Go back to item Q for donation.
I move the Board of Education accept the donation as presented.
Second, okay. And now roll call.
Olson. Poyer. Finnegan.
Yes.
Stout. Taylor. Kane.
Yes, motion's approved. Now we'll go into personnel report.
I move the Board of Education approve the personnel report.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Olson. Poyer. Finnegan.
Yes.
Stout. Taylor. Kane.
Yes. Motion's approved. And now move on to information and discussion items. First, we have item 9A, which is credit card summary report. Any questions with regards to that? Seeing none. The next item is the workers' compensation insurance renewal for 2022-23. Did you want to share anything about that, Ed?
I do. Thank you. Just getting situated. So workers' comp, we continue to be benefiting from the School Employees Loss Fund, also known as SELF. We've been members of that group since 2002, and they continue to do very well. One of the benefits of being within a co-op as opposed to just buying insurance in the marketplace is when we have really good years as a collective pool, they can return and refund prior year positive results. So they continue to be able to do that. They have for many, many years, since I want to say back in 2004, they have returned over $25 million back to members. So very strong pool, continue to have a great program in terms of loss control. And the members, it's small, it's within 82 school districts, but very responsive to their trainings and trying to keep losses down when accidents happen. So our premium for the coming year is actually decreasing by $66,155. That's a nice turn of events after a couple of years of big increases. And so $337,775 will be the coming year premium. That still has a debit, so we are still taking out more than we're putting in as an individual member. Our losses are still trending up over a 5-year period, so we have a debit of the maximum, which is a 20% additional cost. But some of the bad years will fall off, and they're getting closer in the next couple of years, and so we certainly hope to see that premium continue to go down. But that is what we are looking forward to in terms of the coming year, at least a very strong renewal for us. Next month, I will have the property casualty liability renewal.
Ask a question. So would you anticipate that we went for almost a year with nobody in the building, that should be trending down? Were there less claims?
Yes. Yes, and so it was collectively for the entire, for all school districts in general. There are many cooperative options, and they all saw the same trending. And so right now, that was certainly a favorable year out of the 5. It certainly helped in terms of loss ratios.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thanks for some good news. Next, we have the Deos intergovernmental agreement.
So tonight, I wanted to spend just a few minutes with you to explain a little bit about the intergovernmental agreement that we'll be bringing for approval next month. This is in relation to the DuPage Area Occupational Educational System, or DEOS, that we are a part of. We're one of the 14-member districts of DEOS, and it's the organization that owns the Technology Center of DuPage, so we're a co-owner of that facility. So the intergovernmental agreement is something that has to be brought back for renewal, every so often. There was a piece, though, this year that required some more extensive discussion. And so if you would, I'd like to just bring your attention to Article 7, the withdrawal, removal, and dissolution section, where I'd like to just walk you through some changes that were made to this agreement, and again, had required some extensive discussion with the DEOS group. So this is, it would be page 11, I think, of the agreement, and page 204 of the board packet. So basically, there, while within the rest of the sections of the IGA, there is really nothing remarkable, I would say, in terms of we're anticipating continuing with the same terms of the agreement that we've had with the member districts. But as I had said, there was some discussion related to what happens in the event of a dissolution of Deos and how to handle the assets and both being fair to those who were the original investors. We were not an original investor within the group. So of the 14 districts, there were 8 original owners, if you will, of the property. And we were then a later joining member. So beginning on page 12, it starts to outline in section 7-3.3 what would happen in the event that it were to be dissolved. And some of the original language in here was not something that was acceptable to all the member districts. It just didn't. It was not fair from the sense, again, with keeping in mind of who were the original investors and what would happen once they had received their investment back, et cetera. So what we landed on here, the language in red is is what we agreed to in terms of the Deos board. The Deos board is made up of all either the superintendents or assistant soups from all the member districts, together with the Deos board attorney. And so basically what is involved here is that in the event of a dissolution, that those original 8 districts would get their original investment back. And from there then, the remaining cash and assets would then be distributed and in a way that goes off of the average enrollment, okay, at the time. So it basically, at the time we would dissolve, they would look at what our, average enrollment is for the last, we had lots of discussion whether that should be a 10-year average, a 5-year average. And so they essentially landed on 10 years for the cash distribution, and then 5 years of an average enrollment for any assets, okay, that, again, that whatever will be left above and beyond the original investor amount. So we're not looking for action on this tonight. I wanted to bring this a little bit, to your attention, and so that you have some time to review this. And if there are clarifying pieces that you'd like me to bring back to the board to get further information on, I want to at least have time to do that before we'd be asking for our board to do a final approval, okay, on this. So we, Ed and I, talked extensively about the terms that have been, that had been, that you see here, and felt that it was, fair, in terms of what, who was original, and while, we may have come later, to the to the ownership of the organization or to the membership, we do pay in, and we do contribute. We pay, not only our tuition fees, but assessment fees each year, and so we are investing in the facility. And so certainly there is, a need to make sure that we are represented in terms of that, in the event of a dissolution, which is highly unlikely. I should start by saying that. So questions about that, or just conceptually where, our role within, the Deos, or anything I can answer related to this?
Actually, I have a question. So are there other districts that are ever trying to get into this? I didn't know if they could still buy in at this point, or if that's something that they even want to do.
So we recently had a request from a district out of county to send their students, not necessarily join, but we are getting more requests for other districts to be able to tuition their students in, but not necessarily being, a member. So there isn't, as that I'm aware of right now, that ones that want to be a full member. They may have a student or two, but some of them are coming from pretty far. Their most recent one was from Ridgewood High School all the way Norridge area, because there's nothing like it in that area. So as it stands right now, really there hasn't been for some time. I think the most recent might have been I want to say one of the later districts. We did allow, like, Lyons Township is part of, they're not DuPage. I mean, this is largely DuPage, DuPage districts, but I think they're the only one that is out of county.
Any other questions? Okay, then we'll move along to school recognition. We'll start off with Addison Trail this evening.
All right, good evening, everybody. Since the last board meeting, we have been busy. Just going back, all the way back about 10 days ago, prom, we did have over 600 students attend prom. It was a beautiful, beautiful event in downtown Chicago on a great Friday evening. The weather was perfect for the students, so it was an awesome event. That Saturday, we woke up and got ready for Kermesse, the job fair, and the mariachi, and the community resource fair. We estimate just over 250 people who attended that event, and our Interact Club raised over $4,500 for student scholarships and other activities that they'll use those funds for. So thank you, everybody, for coming out to that. We definitely jumped into wrapping up the school year with PBIS barbecue that Monday. Again, another beautiful day for students. So we're able to honor students at our PBIS barbecue during lunch periods. I do just want to say thank you to Danny Brink and Dr. Barbara Nente for the Realtor Luncheon hosted at Addison Trail. An incredible event for community realtors who are selling in Addison. Lots of great feedback from that. We were able to do a tour of the building. Just incredible feedback. We already have connections and different realtors reaching out to try to create some partnerships as well. We were able to host a senior awards night where over hundreds of thousands of dollars of scholarships were honored and presented to our students. Everything from full rides to different universities, to board scholarships, to many different scholarships. So just a great evening. On Friday, we were able to have our senior brunch and graduation rehearsal. So students were able to receive superlatives, different things on Friday at the Empress. So thank you to them for hosting. And then Sunday graduation went off without a hitch. Again, thank you to the board for being there and being a part of that. And for the class of 2022 who graduated on May 22nd, it was a beautiful event. Looking forward to final exams this week. Teacher Institute Day on Tuesday, so yes, they have to come back after the holiday weekend. Quick athletic update, we did have Brooke Greaves, one of our athletes, participate at the state meet. She did PR at the state meet. Unfortunately, did not place, but she did PR at the state meet. And just finally, at the next board meeting, I will be through my first year as a principal, and just wanted to say to the Board of Education and obviously Dr. Barbonente, just thank you for just an incredible year. The sprint is still happening. We're not at the finish line yet, but it has been fun. So just thank you for even the opportunity for finishing out the school year.
Thank you. And now Wilbur.
Like Jack said, it's still May though, right? So the sprint is still going, right? And I have to echo about the Realtor lunches, the luncheons. That was really exciting to have that opportunity to do those again, and to reestablish and have new connections with the individuals that were able to attend. It was really a great time. It has been a busy couple weeks since our last board meeting, so we completed advanced placement exams. Those are done. The spring concerts have finished up as well and wrapped up. We hosted Relay for Life in person for the first time in 2 years, raised over $43,000 for the American Cancer Society, and had an opportunity to have survivors in attendance this year, which was really incredible and special. So with over 350 participants there, we know that that event is building back to where we were previously, but all told, in the years that we've been hosting it, we've raised over $700,000 collectively as a district for the American Cancer Society, and it's tremendous. So, so thank you for your support of that. Our Warrior Code Barbecue was last week on Wednesday. It was one of the few days that it rained, but that was all right. We ended up cooking underneath a tent and serving through the cafeteria areas, but it's all student-led and student-led coordinated efforts there, other than the deans who are the ones that are on the grill. So it works out well to do an all-school barbecue when you can have the deans doing that, and everything else goes smooth as well. Then that evening, we had our Senior Athletic Awards that was hosted at the school with the athletic boosters providing the refreshments prior to. It was a beautiful night. Used the foyer and the commons for that, and then the main gym had all of the awards that were presented as well as scholarships. Our senior recognition ceremony was Friday morning and had a tremendous opportunity to celebrate the class of 2022 collectively with the rest of the student body there. To see that, one of the coolest side notes of that is a sophomore student went back to class and told his teacher that he will be on that stage in 2 years. So that's the reason we like to do it that way, is for a few moments like that, and I have no doubt, I'm sure, that person will be on that stage. On Saturday, we had our first senior sunset, where the class 2022 had a chance to come back, and we were in the field house, had a little bit of an open gym activity with some pizza and food, opened up the rolling doors, had a few Addison Trail students come on over and share with it and watch the sunset and close out their experience together as they prepared for graduation yesterday, which was just a fantastic opportunity to do that. In the athletic front, spring sports are wrapping up. Lily Weeder was our two-time state qualifier. She competed this past weekend in the 400. And then Alex Simmons, who just graduated yesterday, but he's going to compete this weekend in the 400 for the boys state series. Boys volleyball opens up regionals tomorrow. Softball also starts regionals tomorrow. They'll be at Lyons Township against Hinsdale Central. And then baseball opens up regionals on Wednesday. As Jack mentioned, Mr. Andrews mentioned, we have final exams coming up, and then summer school begins June 6th. So we'll let the building rest for about 48 hours, and then we'll get right back to it.
Thank you. Any board member reports? I just want to say that to both principals, I think the graduation ceremonies both went very well yesterday. Haven't been through a couple of them. They both, given the fact that we haven't done them that way in 2 years, it was great. So thank you. Okay, and then superintendent reports.
Very briefly, as the principals mentioned, we had hosted the realtor lunches. Last week, we had over 90 realtors between the two meetings with the building tours, and just an opportunity for them to hear all the amazing things going on in the communities. Another partnership with the village of Lombard, the village of Villa Park, the village of Addison. And one thing that I wanted to just share, as we had talked about as a board administration team, trying to create more materials that help tell our story here in the district and the successes. And so these postcards, that was kind of a concept that the board had authorized, will have the QR codes to the success videos in each building, talking about, again, all the different amazing things that we have to offer in both schools. So it's everything from the dual credit numbers and the AP numbers to the countless successes that our students are able to achieve, given the amount of the resource that the board authorizes in our schools, and just to look at the quality that we have to offer our families. So these are available. We'll be using these as we continue our community meetings. We have intergovernmental meetings going next week, in the next 2 weeks, actually, both on the Villa Park, Oak Terrace, and Addison side, where we meet with all the taxing bodies together and share the different successes going on in the district, and again, an opportunity to network. And later this summer, we'll be making some effort to get together with as many of the church leaders in the communities as well, to try to, again, open up doors of communication and hear from them what they're seeing in terms of the needs of our kids and our families, put our faces with the names that they're able to reach out to, and also, again, a way to build some bridges and those networks that we are so proud of here in the district. So that's kind of where we're headed in terms of some partnership work here as we head into the summer. And again, thanks to thank you to the board just for that direction, to reconnect on the realtor front. There were the questions that were asked were very interesting. We wanted just in terms of what's available to families, even those who are homeschooling in the community. What can they access? What they can access? What are the things that if they have questions about how do we how do they look at us compared to another school in the area? How do they run those types of comparisons? And so we were able to spend time with them on, answering those questions, but also encouraging them to reach out to us if they have a family that wants to come and visit our schools, to our facilities, meet with us, that our doors are open to be able to meet with families and help them make the right decision to come here to District 88. So again, it was really well received, and so thank you for the authorization and direction, to go down that path. So thanks.
Well, thanks for putting that together. I know that's a lot of work, but I think it's all we can do is really get out there and tell our story. And they're a great resource to do that, because they're going to retell it to other people. So thanks for doing all that work. Okay, next is item 13, public comments. If there's any discussion and/or actions, or that the board welcomes any comments and suggestions from the public on the above actions and on the agenda items. So at this time, do we have any cards or?
We do not have any cards this evening.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll move on to announcements. The next Board of Education meeting will be held on Monday, June 6th, 2022 at 7:30 PM in the district boardroom located at District Administrative Offices, 2 Friendship Plaza, Addison, Illinois, 60101. And the next Board of Education meeting after that will be on Monday, June 20th, 2022 at 7:30 PM in the district boardroom located at the District Administrative Offices, 2 Friendship Plaza, Addison, Illinois, 60101. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to move into closed session for the purpose of A, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific employee who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body, or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act, 5 Illinois Compiled Statutes 120/2C1. And B, collective negotiating matters between the public body and the employees or the representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. And C, student disciplinary cases pursuant to 5 Illinois Compiled Statutes 122C9. Roll call, please.
Poyer? Yes. Finnegan? Yes. Stout? Yes. Taylor? Yes. Olson? Yes. Kane?
Yes. Motion's approved, and we'll move into closed session. Okay, we're reconvening in open session. Roll call, please.
Kane.
Here.
Poyer. Here. Finnegan. Here. Stout. Here. Taylor. Here. Olson.
Okay, after the closed session, there's action that's necessitated by the closed session. I'd entertain a motion.
I move that the Board of Education, I move that the board approve the administrative staff retirement for Aaron Lenahan, Director of Technology, Teaching and Learning, effective June 30th, 2027.
Okay, roll call.
Finnegan. Yes. Stout. Yes. Taylor. Yes. Olson. Yes. Poyer. Yes. Kane.
Yes, motion's approved. And at this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, the meeting's adjourned. Okay.